a report in yesterday's London Times, which is striking but not overly surprising. But I think it shows just how deep the Kremlin's tentacles go into this country. So this is the headline: "No copyright infringement intended." This is the property of the Times. So you can see the headline there: "Russian social media plot to reignite troubles." It's actually a lot more than that. Um, I'm not going to read out the whole report, but basically, this report is about by Mark Bridge. It's reporting how Russia is trying to reignite the troubles in Northern Ireland with fake news stories, trying to stoke up tensions, among them claiming that the DUP is open to talks of Irish reunification. The real IRA is recruiting Islamist fighters. Um, and the Northern Ireland stories warned of bloody confrontation using images of fake emails and social media posts. And it's not just that, they go on to suggest that Remainers are planning to assassinate Boris Johnson and that the real IRA assisted Russians in Salisbury. This is absolutely brazen arrogance from the Kremlin. And to me, it's yet another reminder of what's more than arrogance, is blatantly interfering in, it's trying to undermine our sovereignty. It's a violation of our sovereignty. And Ofcom needs to get its act together and strip RT of its license to operate in this country. Of course, there'll be reprisals against the BBC and Sky News in Russia, so be it. A while back, there was talk of, in their final weeks, May having a reset with the Putin regime. It isn't a British Prime Minister, whether it be May or her successor, that needs to do the reset. I'm tired of the emphasis being put on the West, Britain, America, and other states, to have a reset with Russia. The problem is in Vladimir Putin and his thuggish regime. So the onus should not be on us to have a reset. The onus should be on the Kremlin getting the hell out of this country. The report goes on to say, Ben Nemo of the Atlantic Council, a Washington think tank, said it takes very little investment for Russia to do this, and if only occasionally one of the stories goes into wide circulation, they are achieving their aim. The first Northern Ireland story was shared on Facebook in March last year. It said that Gavin Williamson, then Defence Secretary, had said the real IRA was involved in the attempted assassination of Sergei Skripal, the Russian former spy in Salisbury. It included a screenshot of a tweet that it said had been quickly deleted, which gives reason to believe that the information is sensitive and classified. I believe that we are facing a two-pronged attack, one from Moscow, one from Beijing. The Chinese are a bit more subtle about how they go about things. They're not as blunt as the Russians. They're not as openly obnoxious in the sense of they talk of a golden era of Sino-British relations, but we are facing a two-pronged assault by two very powerful countries here. I want the next Prime Minister to really show mettle on this and stand up to both. Jeremy Hunt's made a good pitch by banning the equipment of UK riot police equipment to Hong Kong. That's one such step, but there's other things that can be done. We should block the Huawei deal. As for Russia, we done the right thing expelling diplomats. I give Theresa May credit on that. In an otherwise lackluster premiership, she did show strength when it came to Russia. And I actually sent a comment about that to the I newspaper. It got published, I'm pleased to say. Um, but I think that a lot more can be done. I appreciate the government doesn't have a say on what media operates here. That's down to Ofcom. I think Ofcom can do a hell of a lot more. I intend to write to them. They've given RT verbal warnings, that is it. They haven't followed up on it. But RT, make no mistake, is a mouthpiece of the Putin regime. There's absolutely no question about that. And if you look at RT, I've made this point before, all it does is attract people who can't think for themselves, who, because of a confirmation bias because they have a preconceived bias against Western foreign policy. They flock to RT because it's the opposite, because it tells them what they want to hear. We need to do more to stand up to Russia. Like I say, it was right that we expelled the diplomats at that time, but we now need to scrap RT. Just strip their license. Don't let them push their propaganda here. Um, to be quite honest, it really infuriates me to see what Moscow is doing and the amount of useful idiots in our society that believe what Russia tells them. I mean, what RT and other Kremlin tools do is they exploit divisions, whether it be Brexit divisions, whether it be issues about the Islamist threat that we face. An example being, for example, the grooming gangs. So RT will report that, but they don't give a damn about the victims. The only reason they're doing it is to try and stoke up tensions in society. Now, the right approach to that is number one, the BBC needs to cover those things so that RT doesn't. And number two, we need to know what their agenda is. We need to be clear that RT has no integrity. Okay, when they're reporting, for example, about poverty in the UK or about the way the DWP is treating people or any of those issues, which you may think, oh well, those are injustices. Be assured, the only reason RT is doing it is to try and undermine the United Kingdom. It's not because they actually have some sort of journalistic integrity and they want to talk about these things. If that was the case, then they would be reporting on the massive protests against Putin that Russia has seen in recent years. RT will never do that. RT will never criticize Putin, ever. So we need to know what's going on here, and we need to stand up to these thugs in the Kremlin. And we also need to be very careful what we share online and what we believe online. So anything that is designed to cast doubt on Russia's behavior, you need to treat with suspicion because, in all likelihood, it will be Russian bots just trying to promote the Kremlin's narrative. And shame on Jeremy Corbyn and his front bench for essentially going along with that propaganda at the time of the Salisbury attack. Jeremy Corbyn, instead of just recognizing the obvious, that was an attempt to undermine British sovereignty, um, it was. It was obvious what was happening. I've got a phone call. I'll leave it there.